Now we're live. Okay, now I get the thing that tells me we're live. Okay, we're live now. If it's Monday night, we're talking Fallout from WWE Raw for this September 22nd, 2014. It's your pal right here, wrestling columnist Lee Sanders. Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me. Back in full effect with my good old broadcast partner. I got to make sure I introduce him properly because we got something special for you guys that's been checking us out for a good while. So, you may be familiar with his work from great wrestling promotions as Primo's Wrestling, Vendetta Pro Wrestling, former TNA Gut Check contestant, made it into the finals there too on their online competition. It's my good pal, the one and only, the evil genius, Titus Makaveli. Titus, how you been, man?
I am well, my friend. I am well. And you have to change this whole introduction now because it is no longer a former wrestling manager. It is a current wrestling manager because I made my return to professional wrestling last night. I made my return to Colorado wrestling last night, and the home where I started this whole thing at Primo's Hardcore and Wrestling at Slave to the Death Match 5. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The evil genius is back in the game in a palatial penthouse somewhere in the Denver metro area. I am live. You're seeing this face. I am here in full effect. My friend Lee, how are you?
I am good, man. Very, very good. How's Colorado?
Colorado's fantastic. It's good to be home.
Talk about the event that you went to over the weekend with the folks.
Oh, tremendous. You know, Primo's Hardcore Wrestling every September has the Slave to the Death Match, ultra-violent professional wrestling. It's some people's cup of tea, it's other people's not. I tell you what, I have mad respect for the guys who do what they do. We had Rikishi was our headliner for the no death matches for Rikishi, but the Rikishi was there. We had some of the very best in hardcore throughout the country. We had Chuy Martinez, last year's champion. JD Horror, guy I'm quite familiar with in my years at Vendetta Pro Wrestling. I actually brought him to Slave to the Death Match. Of course, Joey Terrifying, he went over last night and is the current champion of the Slave to the Death Match.
Awesome, awesome. And Truth Martini, remind folks what promotions they can check him out with right now.
Who's that? Was that?
With Truth Martini.
I said Chuy Martinez.
Oh, I thought you said Truth Martini. I'm thinking.
Chuy Martinez.
Oh, Truth Martinez. Okay, gotcha.
Awesome. Manimal. We had some of the very best in hardcore. Some of these guys are going to be the very future of hardcore wrestling for sure.
Awesome. You know, honestly, I'm really, really glad that you're back out there, man, because I know there was a couple of times over the past several months you were like, Lee, you know, I think that's it. I think I'm done. And I just kept telling myself, nah, you ain't done by a long shot. You just got to have the stars aligned just right. It's going to take a minute, but here we are now, all these months later, and you're back in the game again. I'm definitely been very ecstatic that you're back in it because we need great wrestling managers like yourself. And if you guys are not familiar with Titus' work, man, you can go to his website at titusmakaveli.com. I'm sure you're probably going to be talking a lot more about your experience in a new blog.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up here. I've got to get things settled out, but this is just the first of what is going to be many things to come in the next couple of months, because if I'm going to go in, I'm going in all the way. So Primo is step one. There's more steps to the whole thing.
Awesome. Those of you that's joining us, we are going to be talking about Fallout from WWE Raw. Now, unfortunately, Titus was not able to see the Night of Champions pay-per-view, so I'm not going to go back and talk about it again, because usually that's what me and Titus do the night after a WWE pay-per-view. We kind of go back, offer some reflections on it, but he's a little bit at a disadvantage, so we're not going to talk about it. Those of you that missed Night of Champions, you want to maybe get my thoughts on what I thought about the event. I know those of you had joined us live Sunday night for the live webcast. You all had experienced a lot of lagging issues. we actually had recorded the audio as you all were watching that live webcast. The audio does not have any lagging whatsoever. It was recorded through a separate software device. We have the podcast version of our Night of Champions post show available right now here on YouTube. So after you get done with this, go back, check that out. One thing that I want to talk about as we make our way to the talk of Raw tonight, Titus, just a couple of quick wrestling news headlines that really kind of jumped out there, I think, to both of us. Number one is what's going on with Roman Reigns. For those of you that, I don't know, maybe you've been living under a rock or you've been away and you haven't had a good signal until now. You haven't got that wrestling news fix. Looks like Roman Reigns is going to be out for, originally we were under the impression maybe 6-12 weeks. Way it's looking right now, he is going to be out for several months as he had to have emergency surgery for a hernia, not sports related. It didn't happen as a result of him being in the ring. This is just something just totally unrelated, Titus, and talk about a major blow for the WWE right now.
It has been a poor year for WWE, from Punk to Daniel Bryan, and now every perceived rumor and dirt sheet out there has said that the plan was to have Roman Reigns make this run, get to the Royal Rumble, win the Rumble, and face Lesnar and take the title and make his era begin. At first, there were some conflicting reports, and you heard it was, maybe it's going to be several weeks, 4 to 12, and now apparently it's going to be several months, and that is devastating in several aspects. One, people like myself, Roman Reigns isn't ready to take over the spot. At this point, he needs a few more months of just build up, be able to main event a pay-per-view, get some of that whole experience done before he starts being in that spotlight. That's not going to happen at this point. So do you, as the WWE, put him right back in that storyline? Say he makes it back by a Royal Rumble. Is he going to be ready to pick up a Royal Rumble to make that run? I don't think it's a good idea. I think he needs to continue to work. I think we've just seen Roman Reigns be delayed a full year. This is a devastating thing for his career at this point. However, the good thing in this is that he's going to heal. It's not a wrestling injury, so he's not going to have this nagging deal where we're dealing with Daniel Bryan, the neck injury. It can continue and continue and continue to work. This is not a wrestling deal, so he's going to be able to get healed and get back in and be done with this whole thing. But he's going to take a break. He's going to be set back a little bit, and that means that creative has to go back to the drawing board and figure out who's WrestleMania's main event. Because I don't think it's Roman Reigns.
Yeah, hearing all these called experts say, oh, well, the Grand Master plan was to have Roman. Let's stop right there. Let's be for real. Let's call it for what it is, because that's the big difference between these people with their shows and all of that. They go, we have it on good authority. No. Okay? Let's be for real. A lot of us, even us, and we were genuine with our thoughts on how Roman Reigns should be booked, or at least I was. I relished in the idea of a Roman Reigns going to the Royal Rumble, if he's able to continue the momentum that he was on up until his injury, go through the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, become the man, headline WrestleMania, take the belt off of Brock Lesnar. I mean, it sounds really good, but even at that, some people not really too keen on it. You mix that in with people that go, oh, well, Roman Reigns, he isn't ready. He shouldn't be a WWE champion. Well, to that I say, yeah, no, use the blank. Okay, yeah, no, not right now. But if you were to just fast forward some months ahead, he very well could be ready. He could be more than ready. This injury, Titus, a sideline, a big sideline, but at the same time, I think it's a blessing in disguise to kind of follow up on what Booker T, Alex Riley had said on the Raw pre-show, and I just want to put my own little spin on top of what they had said. I think it's a blessing in disguise because for those that maybe we're kind of getting the impression that, okay, here's this guy, he's being shoved down our throats, almost like the next John Cena. That's how some people kind of felt, Titus, with the way Roman was being pushed. Now, before fans can really start feeling alienated, you just have this sudden halt. And mark my words, with Roman Reigns being gone for the X amount of time that he's going to be gone, when he comes back, I mean, pop. Nothing but pop. He's going to come back. He's definitely going to be bigger, better than before. He's going to pick up right where he left off. And I think his run will be better than what we've seen so far. At least that's my wishful thinking. I'm kind of just going off of first impressions that I'm getting from Roman Reigns, and he just comes off as one of those type of guys. Say what you will, he might have made a few mistakes in the past and all that, but with time comes maturity, and he's just different level of thinking right now, and he just comes off like one of those guys that strives for nothing but the best. And I think he's going to come back. He's definitely going to be better than ever. Whether or not it will end with him holding a WWE World Heavyweight Championship, only time will tell.
Well, I think you're right in the sense that you can take that moment, and I think to myself, as you were saying that the Triple H in two different situations, which he had tore his quad. The first time he was gone for such a long time, that enormous pop that he had returning to MSG. But then the second quad, when they started to build up that he was coming back, and that whole we can build it better, we can make it faster and stronger. You can actually take that very same premise and take what you were saying, which is a brilliant way of looking at it, put that same spin on it, and now he's Roman Reigns 2.0, sort of that cyborg sort of thing, and you can definitely do something like that. That's a good point. And give the whole he's next John Cena, he's being pushed down our throat. Well, nobody seemed to complain when we had 434 days of CM Punk being pushed down our throat.
Ain't that the damn truth?
So you can. It depends on who's the loudest saying the problems that they have. Is Roman Reigns being pushed down our throat? A little bit. Why? Because he is the future of the WWE. He is the next guy. And it's his ball to drop. That's the thing. It's his ball to drop. Yeah. Can he hold on to it?
Let me pick your brain on something. I talked about it briefly over the weekend, but I want to get your spin to this. It's funny because I was paying attention to a lot of the social media activity that came about as soon as the announcement was made about Roman Reigns being injured. And by the way, I like how they interrupted regular WWE programming on the network to break the news. I mean, you swore President Obama got popped or something, just the way they just broke in and told you the news on Roman Reigns. But it's funny because
what the network does.
Yeah.
This is a real network, breaking news.
Breaking news.
They went that route.
I got to pick your brain on that, too, in a second. But, I thought it was fun. Ryan got injured and everything. Everybody couldn't stand the freaking yes movement. Glad this guy's going to be gone for a while. Now we can see some real men step up to the plate, all this other crap. Yeah, he really wasn't an A player, blah, 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 blah. Then you get Roman Reigns. Oh, man, Roman Reigns going to be out for several months. Oh, hashtag get well, Roman. Everybody has nothing but nice things to say about Roman. Everybody wish him a speedy recovery. It might sound obvious, but I just want to get your take, get your answer to it. Why do you think that is? Why was there so much hate for Daniel Bryan, but nothing but love for Roman Reigns?
I don't know if I saw there was a lot of hate for Daniel Bryan. I think what you come down to is the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, people who listen to us. So I'm not bad mouthing them. They're a very, a small group with very loud voices. And so they're going to say wonderful things about Daniel Bryan or negative things about Roman Reigns. Then you have the regular mainstream fan. They don't listen to podcasts and YouTube shows, and they don't do the dirt sheets, and they don't go on. They just go to shows and watch Raw, watch SmackDown, all that kind of stuff. I think it comes down to that. The mainstream fan doesn't do a lot of tweeting. Doesn't do a lot of that. I think the IWC fans, those ones are the ones that are probably the most loud. So I think it comes down just to personal preference. The IWC is very, very loud, very outspoken, and they'll speak their mind whether you want to hear it or not.
You think WWE is on to something with this breaking news thing? Because as I was just kicking back, I can't remember what I was watching now, but it just got my programming got interrupted. They came in. Do you think that this was WWE's way of kind of I won't say retaliating because that's too much of a strong word, but a more friendlier term would be countering TMZ and other wrestling websites that are able to break big WWE news? You think this is their way of trying to be on top of breaking such news and also being in a position where, well, hey, if we have more eyes on our WWE network by breaking news, that's going to give us more viewers and that's going to give us more money?
Well, yeah, they should be doing it that way. I mean, during Raw, you have the announcement that right after Raw on the network, you're going to have part 1 of 2 of the video game release character. That's brilliant. That's what we want from the network. That's as opposed. They did that little. See that little commercial, the $9.99 commercial, the little jingle. That was good. That's a good advertising piece. Instead of having Michael Cole say $9.99, $9.99, $9.99, you've got that same thing was being said, but in an entertaining sort of, not up in your face sort of way. So they should be doing breaking news. They should have a talk show. There should be an evening Carson type talk show. You know, the way Vince McMahon used to do way back when. There should be some of that, and I would do it live, or at least live on tape. You know, with maybe an audience or something like that. They should make a real, honest, true network. You know, I'd be bringing in JR and have Cooking with JR and having, you know, a Food Network style show. You should be all hands on deck, creating incredible programming that is diverse and across the board, and it should have news. And it shouldn't. There was a time a couple of years ago that WWE.com actually talked about industry news, and you actually can see on WWE.com information about TNA and Ring of Honor because it was industry news.
Yep.
And now they stopped doing that. If they're the Mecca, they should be the Mecca. And you should have a whole news channel, you know, a news section about news. You know, they'll put over TNA. You don't have to do that, but just news. Things are coming up, you know, even if it's kayfabe, if it's fake news, even if it's TMZ style news where they're throwing out rumors are, you know, the whole little, you know, unconfirmed reports say, play into the whole IWC, play into the dirt sheets. So I think it was a great idea. It was brilliant. It was the way it means that somebody else has a new way of thinking how the network should be, and that's encouraging.
Can we maybe in the near future possibly see an olive branch be given to promotions such as Booker T's ROW and other small independent wrestling promotions? Hell, maybe even Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore be put into a position where they air their pay-per-views on the WWE Network.
I think that there's an opportunity to do that as long as there is a connection between them and that person.
Uh-huh.
You know, the Booker T.
Go ahead, Titus.
I'm sorry, just a little bit of a lag. So the Booker T makes sense because he's part of WWE. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's in part of the commentary. Tommy's kind of taken the side with TNA and working with TNA, so probably not going to want to reward anybody in TNA, you know, any kind of loyalties there. But I think it'd be a great idea. Hell, I'm still a fan of saying, you know, don't worry about Spike TV, TNA. Come to the network. We'll put you over here. But that's for another conversation.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, one other piece of news, I'll just do it in a two-parter, but I want to focus more on B. Apparently, somebody from the Howard Stern show, Eric the Midget, he had passed away. If you all were watching WWE Raw tonight, the commentators had acknowledged this man, and they justified it by saying he was a huge wrestling fan, is the way they put it. He had attended a lot of WWE events, red carpets, things of that nature. So they gave him a nod. I thought to myself, okay, all right, that's cool. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, now let's immediately, while we're talking about people that passed, let's now immediately make the smooth transition into talking about Michael Moody. And for those of you that are not aware of Michael Moody was the son of the late Paul Bearer. And both his sons, Michael and, God, I can't remember his other son's name. Did I say Douglas earlier? Was it Douglas? Forgive me, folks. I can't remember his other. Yeah, I can't remember his other son's name, but they both had inducted Paul Bearer into the Hall of Fame earlier this year. And the fact that it did, okay, well, we still have plenty of showtime left, Titus. Maybe sometime before the end of the broadcast, they're going to make that acknowledgement. Now, granted, let me just make sure I cover all my X's and O's. WWE.com, they did acknowledge it on their website as soon as they have found out about the news, as it was Michael's brother that first broke the news out to everybody via Facebook. All right, so we've got the WWE.com website doing their thing. Okay, that's great. The entire wrestling community, they offered their condolences and all that, but as you're watching Monday Night Raw, Titus, it doesn't happen. I don't know, man. I just can't help but feel that was just a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah,
let's be for real. I was say, let's be for real. If it wasn't for his sons and their surviving family, Paul Bearer probably wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to defend, nor will I rip them, because we don't also know, the family might have asked out of respect, which is just let it be. It's not from it doesn't come from a disrespectful side of WWE, because we know from Percy himself that Vince paid personally for his Paul Bearer's surgery for gastric bypass. There's a lot of love from the WWE to Paul Bearer. So I don't think it was done in a malicious way. So I'm not going to rip them for not saying something, and I'm not going to praise them for it either. We just don't know what was, maybe the family asked for some privacy, just let it be. I don't know. They should have said something. Would have made, especially with what they talked about, the Howard Stern thing. I'm going to give them a pass tonight, just because. Honestly, there's more important things. A 34-year-old man with a family has passed away, way too young.
Yeah, in his sleep, apparently. I'm very curious what the toxicology reports is going to say. Honestly, I'd be shocked if drugs wasn't involved. I am generally picking up the vibe. Drugs had nothing to do with this. If you guys are not familiar with Percy's sons, they are some big boys, let me tell you. They are some really big boys. I wouldn't be surprised if the amount of weight that Michael, might have been a lot as far as the weight goes he was carrying. Let's lighten the mood up a little bit. Let's talk about WWE Raw. Let's be honest, many of us probably would have. Well, we have to, unfortunately. Lord knows I would have preferred to watch Gotham. I was very pumped up for the show. I find out it was coming on at the same time as Raw. I said, okay, well, do I do a show tonight or do I watch Raw? Because I was anticipating Gotham all summer long. I said, okay, I'll put Gotham on the DVR. I'm going to watch Raw, no problem. I missed Gotham. I missed Sleepy Hollow, all in the name of getting my wrestling fix. And Titus, I got to tell you, I was a little bit disappointed. There was a couple of bright spot. All Ambrose effect. That's what I'm here tonight. As Dean Ambrose made his return, you guys had saw him initially pop up on the Night of Champions pay. Well, he followed up on that tonight, ready to go, wanting to get a hold of Seth Rollins. From there, we had saw the Authority come out, and actually no, the Authority came out after Dean Ambrose had an exchange of words with John Cena. Yeah, now the confrontation that John Cena, Dean Ambrose had, that was kind of a very interesting one right there. You know, one that really, Titus, it got me very intrigued because I'm saying to myself, okay, well, these two men are at different points right now in their career. It's drastically different from the last time they collided because you had the whole Shield thing going on and all that. This is an interesting matchup right here. You know, I like that tease because it kind of said to me that somewhere down the road at a pay-per-view now, we're going to see John Cena and Dean Ambrose go at it. Will it be for a title? Hey, it'd be awesome if it was, but you got those two guys in the middle of the ring, great talkers, great in-ring performers. There's money to be made right there, and I honestly was very happy because I actually had my fingers crossed once the Authority came out to capitalize on the exchange of words that Ambrose and Cena were having, as basically both guys were jockeying for position on who should get Seth Rollins, as they both got royally screwed, if you will, Titus, from those guys. Authority came out, and they looked as though they were going to make some type of an announcement, but both Cena, Ambrose, they decided to take the fight to them since Seth Rollins was acting like a coward, staying behind the rest of the Authority. And Titus, you know, over the years, we have seen wrestlers get inside of a vehicle and they drive away, and you say to yourself, my God, who the hell left the keys in the car? How the hell is this even possible that the car is just conveniently there, it's ready to go, you just hop in, and you just drive the hell off? What the hell? You know, there was some...
It happens to me every day.
Right, it happens every day, basically, right. You know, wrestler just does that every day. What they did tonight, the little detail, that's what I'm calling it, the little detail. You see Seth Rollins, he's in the back, he's trying to fight off Cena, Ambrose, and he makes his way to the loading dock area. You see some poor guy who's in the back of his vehicle. He's got the trunk open. He's unloading some stuff. Seth Rollins just tosses that guy out the way, hops in the driver's seat, rolls off. I'm like, finally, we got something that is like, yeah, this could happen. As Ambrose, Cena looking at one another and are kind of saying to themselves, Titus, nice job. Well, you're the one that let him get in. No, you're the one. You know, kind of came off a little bit like that.
I'm going to play on that.
Go ahead.
They went even further, and they put Dean Ambrose in a closet.
Yes.
And Stephanie's line was, every time we kick somebody out of here, they get their way back in. And I've said that for years. You kick somebody out of a show. I've never been kicked out, but I can't imagine I'd be able to sneak back in. And perception is the show's a sellout, so you don't have any tickets available. So how's that stupid guy get back in there? So it was a brilliant, so little things that in wrestling we talk about, does it make sense? And that's the important thing, especially for a guy like myself. It's got to make sense to do it. And if you have a car just sitting there running and the guy runs out and goes, oh, look, a car, let's go get inside of it, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
And it's always a nice car, too. No one's leaving their Ford Pinto 1974 piece of crap car sitting out there with the car running. No. It's always a Lexus or a Mercedes or something really nice, because everybody leaves their Lexuses just running in the back of an arena. So tonight made sense in that aspect. Lord knows they need to make more sense from time to time.
It does. It does. And, you know, just to follow up on that key moment that you said with regards to Ambrose, I love what Stephanie said with regards to the whole Dean Ambrose situation. And I can't remember word for word, but one thing I remember her saying about Ambrose, she said, this guy is a loose cannon. And she followed it up with, basically we need to nip this in the bud, and then they proceeded to lock him in some storage room or whatever for the remainder of the night in hopes that that would take care of him. But as we saw later on in the night, somehow Dean Ambrose managed to escape that little storage room. But as soon as they said, or Stephanie rather said, loose cannon, I mean, I know so many people go there, but I just couldn't help, for the simple fact I was watching WCW 1996 Clash of the Champions, and I was watching it earlier, and I saw some match with Dean Ambrose on. I can't remember what it was now, but I was like, loose cannon. I was like, they made the loose cannon reference, and I just said to myself, somewhere, heaven, wherever, Brian Pillman is probably smiling, and he's saying, you know what, the kid's earned it. Yeah, he is a loose cannon.
Yeah, he's. I think Dean Ambrose. He wasn't gone long, was it? Maybe 3 weeks, possibly 2.
Yeah.
Making this movie, so it was a short deal, and him leaving was a concern because he is really red hot right now, and you know, everyone says that Roman Reigns gets all the push, and that's a fun word that you guys use, but he gets all the push, and you know, these other 2 guys who are much better than Roman Reigns don't get nothing, really, because Dean is got a huge deal right now, hot as can be. He's used intelligently, and he's made a movie. Seth Rollins gets over with Money in the Bank, both the top heel organization. These guys are being used so well. Each and every member of the original Shield are being used and so well. I think it's tremendous to watch these guys. I'm excited to see what the next 5 years looks like with these 3 guys going back together, going against each other. It's going to be real fun to watch. Dean Ambrose is such a talent, and he would have fit really well last night at Slave to the Death match because that was his deal.
Yeah.
I saw the Sawzall at Primo's last night, and I thought of Dean Ambrose.
That's what's up. We want to thank those of you that's checking us out right now. I see maybe 1 or 2 people complaining about lag. At this point, I want to say to you guys to make sure that you, with your respected internet/cable provider, because I'm actually watching the stream as we're doing the show right now, and there's like maybe 3 seconds of lag. And Titus, I don't know if you can back me up on that, but from time to time I see maybe 3 seconds of lag, maybe 3 to 5 seconds of a freeze, but for the most part I see that the stream has actually been on point so far.
A little bit better.
So for those, so for those of you that are like experiencing way more serious lag and freezing, you might want to check with your respected internet cable provider. We're talking about detail, Titus. One thing I have to talk about, man, I didn't really appreciate Dean Ambrose just popping up and there's no bandage around his forehead, or he's wearing some type of a protective mask, or I just wish that something would have been done cosmetically to kind of, oh yeah, hey, he still has, looks like he has some type of a scar from what had came about and all that. If you're gonna pay attention to such little detail like that spot with the guy in his car and all that, but I mean, other than that, I'm happy that Ambrose is back. Let's jump right into the main event match since we're talking about Ambrose and all that. The main event match had involved who was it, Titus? It was John Cena taking on Randy Orton, right?
Correct.
Yeah, John Cena taking on Randy Orton. What did you think about that matchup? Could it have been better, or
we haven't seen John Cena and Randy Orton in like what, a month?
Right.
So it was nice to see. We seen it was Cena Lesnar 3 last night. Now we had Cena Orton 303. These guys have they do good matches. They do some great ones from time to time in the years past. It was just an average match. I don't think I saw anything that just made me really No, it didn't grab my attention. I was able to multitask and not miss anything, I don't think.
Same here. I was doing a lot of multitasking as well, and I'm just saying to myself, I know how this match is going to end because we're being reminded throughout the night. Dean Ambrose is locked in some storage room. There's some security guys that are watching it, and at one point, Triple
Who
H.
should be fired because clearly he got out of the room without the
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the thing with regards to detail, I kind of wish that we would have went back and just filmed a 30-second spot and been like, with Triple H, and he's just like, okay, so how's it going? No problems? He's like, oh yeah, not a peep. And Triple H could have went, that's the
We
second
mean
time. Yeah, he could have been like, that's the second time he said that. Exactly. Where's Dean Ambrose? Put out an APB, but they didn't go that route. I wish they would have, though. But I just kept saying to myself, okay, Dean Ambrose is going to get involved. He's probably under that big black box. Let's see how this plays out. Sure enough, oh, wow, there's Dean Ambrose. It's like, okay, all right, let's go for it. And it ends in Raw typical fashion as they're trying to leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger, but I really wasn't feeling the cliffhanger to the point of, oh, I gotta watch next week. Instead, it was just, yeah, this played out exactly how I thought it would, which was basically Dean Ambrose saving John Cena. Nice trend we've got going on too, Titus, within the past 24 hours. We rewinded back to Night of Champions, and you're left with this burning image of, well, would John Cena have made Brock Lesnar tap out in the STFU if Seth Rollins didn't come in and hit John Cena with the Money in the Bank briefcase? What would have happened? Some people feel that Cena was protected from suffering an official and legitimate defeat once again at the hands of Brock Lesnar. And then you come into what happened tonight, and once again, it's like the argument could be made, well, Cena wasn't able to defeat a member of the Authority because there was a numbers game. You had Kane who was there, and Seth Rollins, and boy, I tell you, if it wasn't for Dean Ambrose, John Cena would have got a serious number put on him. So we actually need to give props to Dean Ambrose for saving John. I don't know why they're doing all this protecting of John Cena. John Cena has won so many times. Go ahead.
The protecting, I take exception to the protecting, and I've heard that since last night. Protecting John Cena, where at the second largest pay-per-view of the year, SummerSlam, we can't argue it's the second largest.
Yeah,
he is embarrassed in the most lopsided championship match I have ever seen. He put up no offense, 16 German suplexes, total annihilation of John Cena, and then just a few weeks later, now they're always protecting him. They're always protect. He was put in the most embarrassing match, I think, in John Cena. Also, the only guy, the first guy ever to cash in Money in the Bank and not win. It's sometimes it's not about protecting Cena, and it goes back to it's a blind hatred for Cena. If Cena doesn't come back and do anything against Lesnar, then if Cena can't do it, who can? There's nobody on the roster who can defeat Brock Lesnar. If John Cena can't put up that much offense against him, nobody else can. Because there's nobody else bigger than John Cena, right? So he has to have a comeback. He has to have and create. The question you brought up earlier is Paul Heyman should have been on and talk about why was Seth Rollins involved. I could reverse that and say Seth Rollins was sent out to protect the WWE Championship, and that's a heel. Heels should bow and cower and be afraid. That's what heels have always done. So Lesnar didn't come off weak, but what I heard and I saw, he doesn't come off weak. He comes off as a damned heel, which is what he's supposed to be. He's the bad guy. Whether we want to paint Cena as the bad guy and Lesnar the savior, it's irrelevant. That's not the story that's being told. So he doesn't come off weak. He comes off like a heel. He had to be saved. That's what heels do. Heels cower into the corner. Heels hold onto the ropes. Heels hide behind the skirt of a woman. That's what a heel does. So I don't like the thought of protecting John Cena. He goes from a humongous defeat at SummerSlam and follows up intelligently booked as a comeback. Him going out there and digging deep and is really putting on a Lesnar took 4 FUs, or AAs they're called, excuse me now, sorry. 4 of them and got out. That doesn't make you look weak. It doesn't look... It was a well-booked match, in my opinion. And you don't agree.
I'm like this. Spider-Man got his ass kicked so many times throughout the years that even after he no longer had the symbiote suit, he still went back and he put on that black costume and he said, I'm not taking this crap anymore. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick some ass. And he went to that dark place that he only wished he'd be able to go at a full 100% with that symbiote suit. My whole thing is, even if you don't want to go the heel route with John Cena, Night of Champions was the perfect opportunity to have a John Cena be displayed in a way that would just leave so many people speechless, especially if you have the commentators just really do a good job in selling the hell out of it. Titus, I was honestly expecting for John Cena to go in there and do exactly like he said he was going to do, which is go in and kick Brock Lesnar's ass. You keep telling me you're going to go in there. You're not going to beat him. You're going to beat his ass. That says to me, oh boy, if that's the case, man, you're probably going to be looking to make this guy bleed. You're looking to give him a receipt of a serious whoop ass to the point he's going to be in the hospital and he's going to be so sore. He's going to be so banged up. He's constantly going to be thinking about you. Okay, all right, let's see what happens. We go there, and I got to tell you, I was disappointed. You know, I wasn't expecting a heel Cena, but I was expecting a Cena that would have Michael Cole in the game go, when was the last time you ever saw this type of a demeanor from John Cena, JBL, Jerry Lawler? No, never, not even in his thugonomic days. Cena's really going to a dark place right here. What the hell? And it didn't happen. And, you know, they did okay with him colliding with Dean Ambrose. I had no problem with that. I thought that was kind of cool. But then, you know, that main match, you know, I mean, on the one hand, I could understand it from the writing standpoint and the way that they were trying to set up Seth Rollins and all that. Seth Rollins is now in this position where he knows he better start playing nice to Kane and Randy Orton, because as far as those two guys are concerned, they're getting a little bit tired of going in and cleaning up his mess. They got better things to do. They got more important things to do. So we see Seth Rollins trying to do that little bit of damage control and all that, and I'm fine with that, you know. But I don't know, sometimes you look at your favorite comic book characters. Take your pick, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. They've all got their asses kicked many times, and they dust themselves off. They dig down deep. They go into this more darker place. They don't go, let me go call the Avengers, let me go call Justice League, because no, they go out there and they get their hands dirty. They go do it themselves. And I don't know, sometimes I just kind of question the booking of John Cena.
Well, I think sometimes folks forget so many things that Cena has the bads that he had. The going into Chicago and losing to CM Punk on his last night, quote unquote. See air, you know, now you can see air quotes. Going on his and CM Punk's last night of the company and being embarrassed in Chicago and losing the title, and Vince trying to, you know, help him save it, and, you know, so many different things Cena has done where he's looked, you know, human. in my opinion. I don't look at it as being he always looks good. He's always protected. He's always, why are they doing this? You know, nobody likes this guy. You know what I heard tonight? I didn't hear Cena sucks tonight.
Really?
I didn't hear it. Wow. I heard it was a quiet crowd. It wasn't a loud crowd tonight.
Oh, the live crowd. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Wasn't a loud crowd, but I did hear a lot of "Let's go Cena's." I did not hear very many Cena sucks. So I thought that was quite interesting. So he's not the most hated person in the history of wrestling. It goes back to that small group of IWC people who have great opinions and are afraid to share those opinions. However, this is what Cena brings. He brings this each and every single week. He brings it in merchandise. He brings it in pay-per-view buys. He brings it in PR. He does stuff charity-wise that not 10 guys can do.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at the biggest, over here you get the biggest, right there, folks. I want to show you right there. The biggest sporting event in the world. You got the NFL, and all you get is garbage and crap about, domestic abuse and all that. Then you get a guy like Cena who's just a good guy. And so we want to hate on him because we don't like him, and we want to cheer for anybody else but him, except when it's somebody else like Roman Reigns. Let's boo him, but he's not the guy. It just frustrates me. I don't want to be the Cena apologist. That's not my role in this show. But I'm also not going to bury him either, because he's not the world's worst wrestler. I think he's probably overexposed. That's the problem with Cena. He's overexposed. If you go back and you look at what The Rock, Cena's got 3 moves. That's all he has. Well, you go back and look at The Rock in, his Rocky days, and he was no different. Yeah. He had, the people, the eyebrow, the people's elbow, the rock bottom. He only had a certain. Yeah, and that was so he had a small skill set too. What did Rock, I think, better is that he walked away. He hit this level and said, I'm walking away and I'm going to do something else. And so you didn't get a chance to to get tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
Cena, we've had him for 10 years. He's overexposed because the same guys who are booing him now were the same guys who loved the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Mm-hmm.
Loved him. You go back to his whole battle with The Undertaker, man, there are a lot of people who were all about John Cena. Yeah. I know. I saw him at Vengeance in 2002 in Denver, Colorado. I saw a lot of John Cena fans there because he was different. He truly was able to rap. He was truly come out in jerseys, and he was different. But he hasn't morphed in the last 10 years, but this much. So,
and who does that remind you of?
Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. You know something, brother. Something's going to have to change eventually.
But as long as this continues to come in, we're not going to move him. The Hogan money started to dip. It started to, change a little bit. So that's going to come. But as long as little kids, I was listening this weekend. I was traveling from North Carolina to Colorado, and I listened to a lot of JR's podcasts. And I caught up on the one with Goldberg. And Goldberg was saying when he took a heel turn in WCW, that night he was in the locker room with a Make-A-Wish with a little girl about 10 or 11 years old who had cancer, who just loved her some Goldberg, right? He goes out, he turns heel, he comes back to the locker room to see her, and she was crying.
Oh.
Because she believed that he turned bad. He did something nasty, and her heart was broken. And he said, you know what? I don't care if it was more money. I don't care. I have to represent. He goes, I disagree from Charles Barkley. I am a role model. And so John Cena, like him or don't like him, is a role model to a lot of kids. I have one. Actually, I've got 2 who both like John Cena. And my kids are smartened up, clearly, but it would mean more to I think John Cena would prefer to have the entire internet wrestling community boo him, Cena sucks, and want to bury him, than to make one Make-A-Wish kid cry. And for that, he'll never get buried by me. And lastly, second thing, and I'll get off the soapbox. I don't know how I got on this soapbox tonight. My issue with Dwayne was that he did walk away. This is my life. This is my blood. I'm the first ever third generation. And he walked away for 8 years and even changed his name from The Rock to Dwayne John. I mean, he kind of distanced himself from wrestling.
Yeah.
John Cena has not ever, nor would he, I believe, ever do. He wants to be on Raw every single night. That's what he wants to do. That's why he busts his ass when he got hurt, to be back on the show. He loves it. And for that, I'll never give him any, I won't bury him. I'll call him out, and I do, but I'm not going to bury the guy, because it's not fair. He is overexposed, though. I cannot argue that whatsoever. A little bit too much Cena. A little bit too much. But turning heel doesn't solve anything.
Nah. It might get people talking for one day or 1 week, but...
Here's my analogy on that whole thing. You're an NFL fan or no?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Who's your favorite team? I don't remember that.
See, that's I don't have a favorite. There's like probably 5, 7 I follow. I follow real quickly. Skins, Ravens, Giants. Love Peyton Manning and the Broncos. I guess you can maybe go with the Broncos.
Okay. Happen to know a little bit about that. So, Peyton Manning, best quarterback in the history of the NFL, yes or no?
Yes.
I think Joe Montana's better. Now, would you agree that maybe Joe Montana might be better?
Yes.
Okay, see, I just made you change your opinion, and I didn't. So I had you go from this to this, right? If Cena has hustle, loyalty, and respect, and I'm this, and to please a few people to make him a heel, from this to this, all you do is make them go, see, hustle, loyalty, respect didn't mean as much as you said it did it? He loses. It's a lose-lose situation. Turning heel only gets haters to call him out as a fake and a phony. I would never turn him. I probably would never turn him heel for that reason alone, because that is who he is, and that's what he preaches. And if you talk to anybody, anywhere, on any podcast, you listen to anything anybody says, none of them say anything negative about John Cena. Even CM Punk never said anything negative about John Cena in an interview anywhere. So what does that say? We can sit around. Matt Sydal didn't bury Cena when he left WWE.
Yeah.
Said positive things about him. So we in the internet wrestling community can just bash and bash and bash, but those that are in the locker room, who see and know him, who get buried by him, don't say anything nasty about him.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this. I'll say this much, and we got to move along. That guy is one hell of a merchandise pusher. I will give him that. I mean, I got to be honest.
I want a nickel for every T-shirt he sells.
I'm telling you, and the new shirt that he debuted tonight, I'm gonna admit it, because I'm really not that much of a Cena fan. But I was looking at that new shirt he was pushing tonight. I say, you know what? Nice subtle color, plain, simple, not multicolored. I could rock that. That looks kind of cool. All right, So he's got me like that. That's.
But what's funny about T-shirts is that WWE was selling the Cena Sucks T-shirts, and all these guys who hate Cena are buying the Cena Sucks T-shirts. And who gets royalties from the Cena Sucks T-shirts? Buy them. Hate me.
Oh
I don't want you to, because You buy the ones that I love Cena, I make money. You buy the ones that say Cena sucks, I make money.
Right.
That's playing the crowd.
Let's go over some of these quick matches. I just want to talk about them real quick. Ziggler, he defeated The Miz to become a four-time Intercontinental Champion. A lot of people, and I'm going to address this question too because you guys kept asking it over and over and over again. You guys were happy that Dolph Ziggler got the championship back. A little weird that The Miz lost the championship in less than 24 hours. Many of you are kind of going, why did this happen? Why did it happen in the first place? Don't quite understand it. Here's a simple answer, and this is an educated guess. I could be wrong, but if I were to give an educated guess, I think it came down to wanting to stick it to those websites that are able to make money off of betting from predetermined matches, in this case the WWE. You just go to any WWE pay-per-view night weekend, and you go to any betting website that'll allow you to bet on wrestling matches, and you see the odds, who's the favorite to win, certain little things or whatever. Oh, this person has an injury, he might not be able to show up, or that type of information. It does help. Titus, what's your take? You agree, disagree?
I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing that, because I'm all about it making sense, and none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
None of it. I don't understand. I don't know. I'm at a absolute and utter loss.
Yeah. I have no idea why
Somebody said something to me last night. Did somebody screw up or? Chances of that happening are seriously, highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely. So, I don't know. I really am. I don't know. It's bizarre.
I'm going to give my bold prediction. Don't be too surprised if you hear that them changing titles in the past 24 hours was basically a result of trying to stick it to those betting websites. I think I might be on to something. Did you happen to watch the Raw pre-show?
I did not.
You missed something really hilarious. They had a backstage interview segment that Renee Young conducted with The Miz, and Damian Sandow was right there. And I mean, word for word for word, Damian Sandow, just verbatim behind The Miz, saying every single thing that The Miz was saying on point. It wasn't a 3-second delay or anything. And I got to tell you, man, I've been really warming up to the whole combination of these guys doing the whole stunt double thing. How have you been enjoying it?
Loved it. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
You actually see around ringside tonight, you saw Sandow's mannerisms were very much like The Miz. I think that he may have been studying some tape. He may have been watching because he has his mannerisms down, which is what confuses me why they stripped the belt. Because, I get taking it off of Ziggler, put it there because you got something really unique. I've never seen anything quite like that before. I was talking to a friend last night, and he has a gimmick similar to Miz's gimmick. He had his first, and he hates the Miz, but then he looks at Sandow and goes, "Damn, why didn't I think of that idea?" It's a clever idea. So I don't know why they took it. I would have kept it on The Miz and kind of see where this goes. I don't know. I love the gimmick. It's great.
Yeah.
Finally, do a Sandow.
How do you like Ziggler and our Ziggler? A lot of people I spoke with, they actually don't like it, but I think it's awesome as well. And most importantly, it gives our truth a little something to do. Plus, you got a running gag going on right there.
Yeah. I don't think. I think our truth takes away from what Ziggler can do and who he is. It's a distraction. Ziggler should be featured by himself out there. If you're going to do anything with him, you give him a nice piece of eye candy to be his valet. But it should be about Ziggler and not distract away from what he is. I mean, I think he's finally coming into his own. Some of his ego he had for a while has seemed to have rubbed away. I think he can do something, and I don't want to see him packaged with it in sort of a tag. I want him on his own, singles wrestler in that Intercontinental hunt, make that Intercontinental title worth something again. But I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. Okay. Honorable mention: Jack Swagger defeated Bo Dallas via submission. Let's see. Summer Rae and Layla, they had took on Natalia, Rosa Mendez. Titus, I don't know if you saw this match, but I gotta admit, man, you know, Rosa Mendez, god damn, did she look smoking hot tonight, man.
I did happen to see that match.
What do you think about Rosa? Yeah.
I think Rosa needs to be sending candy or something to the producers of Total Divas, because the only reason she's not on, the indie scene or working at a hair salon is because they wanted her on Total Divas. She's not a talented wrestler, I don't think.
As apparent tonight, because she really didn't do anything.
I think tonight was an absolute disgrace to the women's division. How's that, Lee? Is that pretty much to disgrace? Because all it was tonight was about pushing Total Divas, putting your television product and using your wrestling product to push that same storyline. We're pushing Natty and we're pushing Summer Rae, and we all are smart enough to remember that didn't just happen. That happened months ago. And because they taped it, and now they run it, now we're going to have it be relevant when you've got the talent sitting in that woman's locker room, in AJ and Paige, and Summer's a good wrestler. She really is. Layla's a good wrestler. She's the vet in the room. You got all the ones we talked about in the weeks past. It's an embarrassment to what they could be doing with that woman's division. Yeah, I don't need to have segues tying Total Divas to the wrestling show. I want a wrestling show, and I like Total Divas. I admit it. It's a show that I've got kind of caught up in. I kind of like some of that drama and all that, but I don't need it in my wrestling show. You don't need to try to use them and mash them together. I want a wrestling show and have wrestling angles and wrestling programming, and the Total Divas should be what's on behind the scenes. We're blending wrestling and life together, and they're not the same. I turn on WWE, I want to forget about all the things that are going on in my life. You watch wrestling, you want to watch a couple hours and forget about your boss and forget about the horrible day, the guy who cut you off in the highway, all those things that Titus doesn't have to deal with because he's above everybody else. But kayfabe. But I want that separation from it all. And when you put these two together and say, well, this person really doesn't like this person, and we're going to have wrestling matches to show how much they don't like each other, I don't need that. I'm more interested in AJ and Paige and that dynamic, and they're not on Total Divas.
Whenever I see the girls from Total Divas involved in a match and they're playing off of an episode of Total Divas, with the exception of Natty. Love Natty, always a great performance. She always goes out there, she puts in 100%. I've never been disappointed with a Natalya match. But for me, every single time I see a match and they're bringing up Total Divas, I don't know if it was you, but some legendary wrestler had said, that I read recently, they said something like, when you see these Royal Rumble matches and it's, whether a title is on the line or not, it's just poor taste, because it's basically like creative just said, well, let's just do this. They didn't put that much of a really good thought process into it. And like every single time I see the girls from Total Divas, and they're involved in a match and all I hear is Total Divas, it just seems to me like no creativity from WWE, as far as giving these girls an original story arc that you can try to get behind. I mean, damn, at least the effort was made when you had Summer Rae, Layla, and Fandango, that little triangle going on. But then even at that, you can make the argument that that was kind of tied back to an episode of Total Divas months ago. So do you maybe kind of look at it also as a sense of being lazy on creative's part for not trying to actually come up with original story arcs?
Or is creative writing Total Divas? And so it's not really a reality show; it is a work. And are these all storylines that are put together to run on a television show to make it look like it's really what's really going on? But not. I mean, it's one of the two. It's either we're lazy and we're going to just take what we see here and use it, or we're not lazy, but we're just going to create a fake reality show to make it look like this is on to help push our Divas division. And you don't need to. Frankly, you don't need to. You got wrestlers. Let's not forget what this is all about. We can call it sports entertainment all we want, but there's still this little squared circle there. That's still a hammerlock. That's still a pinning combination. It's still wrestling. Why are we afraid of it? That's what I really had hopes that Triple H would have been different. And you see moments in which he's different, but then you see moments where he's actually worse than the worst of McMahon. So that's concerning.
Yeah.
Too many good women wrestlers sitting down in NXT right now who could use this spot better than Rosa Mendez. At least it wasn't Cameron.
No doubt, no doubt. Who the hell won that tag match, by the way, between those girls? Could have sworn.
It wasn't a tag match. It actually was just a singles match, and girls were on the outside with them, and it was Natty who won over.
Okay.
And Rosa Mendez grabbed her butt almost. That was interesting. It was a weird. Go back and watch that back. You can kind of see Rosa grabs on tight, and Natty kind of pushes her arm off. It was kind of weird exchange. I don't know if it was intentional or a work or what, but it was kind of a weird deal there.
While we're still talking about girls, let's just get some more girls out the way. What did you think about the latest Bella segment, man? I mean, whew.
I've been a big defender of the Bellas since it started, and it's gotten just, I can't even tolerate it.
Yeah.
And I've been a big defender. I've been an apologist. Nikki has moments of being good. Tonight isn't an example of that.
Inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. And you can't be inconsistent in this business. You have to be able to deliver every single time. And Brie, once again, proves that she's just incapable of talking. When you're doing a promo, kids, it's just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be, and I'm gonna kill she's always up here. She's always just blah. Bring it down. The best promo guy in the entire industry, in my opinion, from every angle, is Jake Roberts.
Oh, yes.
And Jake never talked above this. Very controlled, very right to the point. It's the words that matter. You don't have to be always up here, because if you're always up here, you've got no place to go. You're here. So she's very uncontrolled, and Nikki is as good as she is in his moments because she's got Cena around her. Danny Bryan is not considered a great promo guy, so Brie has nothing to rub off on there.
He said rub off.
Huh?
You said rub off. Show's over. Good night, folks.
You're a sick, twisted freak. She has nothing to rub off. There you go.
I'll tell you what, Nikki was
the train's coming off the rails, man.
Yeah, Nikki was looking very busty tonight.
But since we're talking about good-looking women, we cannot forget to talk about Lana.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I listen to Lee Sanders podcasts, and you make that reference, and yes, I have a energy, excited feeling for Lana. She does do so, but think about Rusev, and he's in an upper mid-card status, and he's a good wrestler. He's big. He's intimidating. Where would he be without Lana? He's nowhere.
Probably a manager at a independent pizza chain.
And I know a little bit about Rusev's history because one of my mentors at APW out in California, Marcus Mack, great manager in his own. He's actually running APW now since the great Godfather Roland Alexander's passed away. Rusev started out in APW, and his first manager was Marcus Mack. So I have a little bit about Rusev. Rusev's he's not a talker. Not a big deal. So the great thing about Lana is she's very good at getting heat. And some of it's cheap heat. When you're talking about, anti-America, it's always, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, I don't care, you still love America, and you're still going to let somebody else talk bad about it. So it's cheap heat, but it always is pretty easy heat to get, and it's good heat. So she does a very good job of that. I am still waiting for the Lee Sander prediction to come true. I'm still waiting. I'll pay homage and I will bow to you if I see that Kurt Angle music hit.
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for it because to see Apollo Creed 2.0 and Mark Henry get killed again, I mean, I said it at Night of the Champions. I'll say it again tonight. I honestly did not care about these guys wrestling. I mean, wrestling, and that's no disrespect to both of these guys, especially Mark Henry. Mark Henry has definitely on many occasions given us some great matches that made us go, damn, didn't think he was capable of that. Rusev, he's getting there, but I'll say this, because I actually was fortunate enough to see some of his work when he was in NXT. And honestly, between what he was doing in NXT to now, not that much of a difference, unfortunately, and he's got that nice throwback type of a feel, and I can appreciate that, but I'm not sold on him in the ring. But for me, watching these two guys go at it 2 times in 24 hours, I don't know if you disagree, but for me, I could have cared less.
I think you could have kept Mark Henry at home and sold the injury.
Yeah.
That would have been a more impactful sort of thing. And you could have had Rusev have some sort of a small moment with a Big Show. That's my tag team partner, and and have a little. You don't have a match. I'd save a match down the road, maybe some sort of, fisticuffs. But I could care less. I care more. And I love Mark Henry. I'm a big Mark Henry fan. I think the Hall of Pain is great. I will always reminisce about him and Mae Young. Classic Attitude Era storyline. I like him, but I was more into Jack Swagger and Rusev than I was Mark Henry. Mark Henry's an Olympian. I get that, but he doesn't come off as a USA. Swagger, totally USA, and it's part of his, We the People. It was great. I think this is the setup for Kurt Angle. I really do. I think it's the setup. And if it's not, it is an absolute blown opportunity. Because I have been a person who has harshed on Kurt Angle for a couple of years. publicly on Twitter, on my old radio show, I have bashed Kurt Angle for his inability to get his head out of his ass. And after listening to him over the weekend, his interview with JR,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like he's done that. It sounds like he's really started to get it together. He's been clean for nearly a year. Doesn't drink, doesn't take any pain meds. You know, he's got himself straight and appreciates where he's at. He would be good in WWE. He would be able to go down to the Performance Center and teach a guy like Sami Zayn that one little bit more that he needs. Adrian Neville, a little bit more on that mat wrestling to kind of complete the package. He could do such a great thing at NXT. He could deliver tremendous matches with Rusev. I think he ends Rusev's undefeated streak. The way that Taz, ruined his. You know what? I actually, at this point, I can buy him going to WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. We got that once. That was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
And except for the shooting star press, that shouldn't have happened. Other than that, I can actually buy Kurt Angle and with Roman Reigns now on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants John Cena. I don't want John Cena at Mania against Brock. I don't want it. I saw it at SummerSlam. I saw it at Night of Champions. I want something new. And you have Kurt come back, destroy Rusev, boom. Then work to the next guy, boom. And then go to the Royal Rumble and saying, it's true, it's damn true. I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. I'm going to go to WrestleMania. I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar. And I'm going to have this whole redemption come full circle. That's a storyline. Right there is Triple H. It's right there. I served it up for you. Now sign the damn deal and make it happen.
You know, speaking of WrestleMania and all that, I mean, we just continue to see over the weekend the reports of people that are really getting the impression that Sting is a lock for next year's WrestleMania. He has the WWE merchandise deal going on. Tomorrow, or actually it's Tuesday right now, you go to your local Best Buy, FYE, Kmart, Walmart, wherever, you can pick up the new Sting DVD that is called The Best of Sting. I want to just warn you guys ahead of time, those of you that are expecting to see a new documentary piece showing Sting, and he's doing a lot of talking. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen from what I know. There's going to be, like other people, though, talking about Sting, but there's nothing with the man himself. So some of you guys may be looking at that compilation and say to yourselves, well, if I have the WWE Network, Titus, why should I buy the Best of Sting? Exactly. But Sting related, what did you think about some of the images and video footage that they showed of the WWE 2k15 video game?
You know, as a guy who has played many a video game and it hasn't very much in the last few years because I think it's passed me by. That's a game that it's going to be in the Makaveli household.
Yeah.
Because the youngest Makaveli boy is a big wrestling fan. He's getting good at these games, and he wants, because I've raised him right, he wants Sting characters. So we have to pre-order the game so we can get Sting characters, and so it's a game we're going to be buying.
Yeah, I'm definitely, and I skipped, what was it, 14 last year. I skipped that one. I think there was one before that. Maybe it was 13. I don't know, but
yeah.
It was 13. Okay, I skipped the past two because I just felt it was starting to get redundant. You know, it's kind of like Madden. You know, it's like after a while, it's the same thing. Really, nothing has happened with the graphics. Okay, you add this one little cool feature. One looks like it's, woo, you know, it's like, okay, I got to get my hands on this. I haven't been excited. Last time I was excited for a game was probably Batman Arkham Asylum. and then the follow-up, I think it was Arkham Origins. That was like the last time I was excited for a game. They have handled this pretty damn well, man. The graphics, if you guys haven't seen any of the trailer stuff for it yet, you could probably find some stuff online. Maybe go to IGN. A lot of people were under the impression, Titus, that maybe Sting was going to be popping up tonight because he had put a cryptic tweet out.
He did pop up at the last 3 seconds of the commercial.
I know, right? There you go, guys.
And that is how you promo.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Make you forget that you want big. You had that first commercial. That first one comes out there, and you get that, and you're like, oh my God, the music, is that possible? Gets you really excited. Then you just get a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. I think that he is a Hall of Famer this year. I think there is a match, and if it's not Taker, it's John Cena.
I don't know why,
That's
but
right there.
for me, I want to see him take on Triple H because I just see the perfect story arc with that. You know,
I'll give you that. I agree. Yeah, and Hogan has always talked highly of Triple H work in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And his ability to do things. And Hogan and Sting have talked, and he'll probably say the same thing, that, oh yeah, it's an easy work day with Triple H. It's yeah, it makes sense.
He can definitely protect him. I mean, not saying Cena wouldn't, but Triple H is like the ultimate guy you want to work with. I mean, because this guy Sting, the man they call Sting, rather, he's getting up there. What is he, 56 now?
54, I think.
54? Yeah, I mean, he still looks pretty good, but
I think he's going to come back in the best shape he's been in a while. I think he's ready. I don't. JR has talked about a one and done type of situation. I would like to see just a little bit more than a one and done. I'd like to see, so more than one match. But I think what we're going to get is we're going to get one match and that's it. So and Sting's, even at 54, one match at Mania with Sting is probably as good as half the roster could put together in a lifetime. This is Sting we're talking about here. So all this, he's old, put it away, all right? Because you don't have anything. You don't have anything on TV tonight if it wasn't for a guy like Sting.
Yeah.
So show some damn respect. Let him have his WrestleMania moment and go to the Hall of Fame where he belongs. Let him have a match with whoever the hell he wants to have. Whoever he asks for, give it to him.
Yeah.
And put together the ultimate, story of Sting DVD that comes and with his words and the day he walked in to Power Team USA with Warrior to the day he finished at WrestleMania, and make that whole journey. Do it right, because you've been wanting this for 10 years. You've got it. Do it. Enjoy it. I don't want anybody complaining about it. We're going to get something really magical because it's Sting. He's a big-time player in a big-time game. He'll deliver a big-time match. He'll put, and that's probably why it's best that it's one and done, because everything can go into that one match. Leave it all on the table, and he can go, I got nothing left to give. I've gave it all right here on the table. I can live with that. So I want Taker. I want Taker. We all want Taker. I hope that it happens. What was it? Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst announced that Taker wasn't doing really well, and pray for him. Michelle McCool's like, whatever, because that's not true. So we don't know what's going on with Taker. All right, is Michelle McCool telling the truth? Well, maybe she's not telling the truth because her husband. Who knows? I want Taker. It'd be the way to go in my mind. Definitely can buy what you're selling in Triple H. You're absolutely right. But of course, I can see Cena just as easy as I can Triple H. I think that's the list.
Yeah, that's the list right there.
That's the list.
Yeah. I love the way they've been just doing these nice little drops of Sting. I really do. Just the subtle touches from the WWE Network. You got his involvement. with this new video game. You got the merchandise available at WWE Shop. I mean, just the way that they've been handling him, it's just been really on point. And then at the same time, Titus, I can't help but also kind of go back and say, I wonder if this is how they would have done Warrior if he still was alive. Because the little bit that we saw on that Ultimate Warrior exclusive special on the network, it kind of seemed like they were going in that direction when they were laying out to him all the new T-shirt memorabilia designs that they had in motion that was going to be happening for the next several quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really makes you wonder.
And I think that we haven't seen Sting make this move. And he signs 1-year deals with TNA. So he's had that every year. It's the free agent Sting. I think that it's a testament to Triple H. Because we got Bruno Sammartino in the WWE Hall of Fame, and nobody would ever happen. We had Warrior in the WWE Hall of Fame, and there's no way after that movie came out there'd be ever any chance that there'd ever be any love, but there it is. So Sting can see the progression of the his issue has always been the Attitude Era. I mean, Steve Borden is a born-again Christian who has a certain set of values he wants to stick by. Wasn't a fan of the Attitude Era. Neither was Bruno, for that matter. He's seen this as different WWE, which is why it's never going to go back to the Attitude Era, kids. Just accept that fact now. It's a dead era. It's gone. And I watched it, and Lee watched it, and you missed it. So, bully for me. But this is the era when Sting can sit back and go, you know what, they're going to handle my legacy the way I want them to. I'm sure in this whole negotiation he had, this is what I'm looking for. And knowing that he's a pretty humble guy, he's saved his pennies. He's not hurting for money here. This isn't some guy trying to, get one last payday. He's a very well put together guy. So, I think they're doing a great job with it. I like just the, little taste just that taste, and it makes you just kind of go, oh, man, it's like a drool coming out because you want to see it happen. You want it to go. And from the first time you saw that video with the music and the orchestra playing, it was go time. And I don't doubt that this deal is already in place. I mean, it's got to be in place because they're doing this whole build around that. That's the payoff. And which of the three guys is it going to be? And you guys out there, you can tweet me, Evil Genius Titus, and the RCWR show. Tweet us, who else? Are we missing somebody? Because I don't see anybody else there is to put on this match. I mean, there's nobody else unless I'm missing something. And I think Lee's thinking the same thing. I know there'll be people who say, "Screw Triple H. He's part-time. He's done. He's the authority. Screw John Cena. He should go against. He should let Dolph Ziggler beat him, or he should let Damian Sandow." No. That doesn't work that way. Yeah. I think that he loses 2 of the 3 matches. He loses the Undertaker. I think he actually loses to Triple H. I think Triple H does the honors, puts him over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Cena might beat Sting. As we gotta protect John Cena. My dig. So I don't know. Yeah, tweet me. Let me know what you think. Hit the comments down below over here and put some comments down below and tell us what you think. Who are we missing out there? But it can't be a young guy. It really can't be. Not at this point. I don't think. But sell me on it. I can be convinced. The great thing about having debate is, open my eyes to something. Don't just say I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. Give me some real. This is why you should see him versus this guy and what he can do for me, and sell me on it. I can be bought. Everybody has a price, said the $1 Million Man.
I'll put one young name out there, and this will get you guys talking. If he was a serious heel and he kind of got away from his colorful wardrobe, I could see a really good Dolph Ziggler Sting feud. Right story arc.
It's a one and done though.
Yeah, for one and done. Oh, well, if we're going one and done, then unfortunately no. But if a deal was set up where they got maybe 5 matches out of Sting, I'd like to put Dolph Ziggler in there for honorable mention. I think would do something really spectacular, especially if basically the way I'm picturing it is you have Dolph Ziggler kind of go in with that Randy Orton type of vibe, that legend killer type of vibe, but not necessarily. But yeah, now some of you guys may say, well, Lee, if that's the case, why don't we go to Randy Orton? Randy Orton has had so many opportunities to shine. That's
You
a
know
completely
what?
different episode.
I could buy the Randy Orton thing
Yeah,
if it was the legend killer.
yeah.
That Randy Orton, not what we have now.
No, definitely not what we have now. No, no, not what we have right now. Who do you think is under that damn bunny costume, man? I mean, some people think it might be Sami Zayn. Some people think it might be Shawn Michaels for some reason. I doubted Shawn Michaels.
No, I don't think it's Shawn Michaels at all. I put my 2 cents worth in on it, and it's just blanked on his name. Was part of the Nexus. Gosh darn it! From
Justin Gabriel.
I still think it's Justin Gabriel.
Hmm.
Haven't seen him on TV. Haven't seen him do anything. I don't know. Just something tells me it's Justin Gabriel.
This just in. Apparently, the bunny is AJ Styles.
We can only hope.
I tell you, if you see the bunnies do the Styles Clash, that's a whole.
No. I'm proposing live on our show, all right? Because you brought up AJ, and we're getting near the top of the hour. I'm proposing that we get together one day during the week and do a show.
Mhm.
Do it over time frame, and we pick our fantasy dream roster. You pick your, Lee Sanders Wrestling Federation, and I pick the Titus Wrestling Federation, and we have a draft, and I want the fans to put their 2 cents worth in. I think that'd be fun, and the reason I say that, AJ is one of those guys I think right now is sitting on the indies who doesn't belong in the indies, and I'm an indie guy. I work in the indies. He doesn't belong there.
Tease him.
He belongs in one place.
Yeah. Tease him with that. Tease him with that. That's a hot topic that we gotta come back to.
He belongs there. He should, Jim Ross said that he's the one that he screwed up. He should have signed him before. He belongs there. He's a good guy. He doesn't have drama, doesn't do drugs, doesn't cause trouble. He works like a fiend. Why is he sitting on the indies? The whole idea is this, in my thought, Lee, you just won that Powerball $200 million. You're going to drop $100 million into your own promotion to put away TNA and W. You want to start your own deal. You could maybe draft 2 people unrestricted from WWE, 2 people from Ring of Honor, 2 people from TNA. Maybe you could miraculously bring back one, legend from the past or 2, something like that. So, I don't know what the rules are there, but you got to have some indie guys, you got to have some WWE guys, you got to have some NXT guys. Maybe you could have the ability that you could just buy off those guys. Mm-hmm. You can't pick CM Punk because he retired.
Okay, that's fair. Why we got to echo at my end, though? Is that you?
I don't know. I haven't done anything different.
You have anything?
No.
I'm hearing echo again. You didn't touch nothing?
Uh-uh.
You hear echo at my end?
No, sir.
Viewers, if you're hearing an echo, let me know. Post a comment down below. I'm gonna have to Titus mute myself, and then I'll just have to get you back in that way. You're not muted, but I've actually muted myself. But I think the people can still hear me. Hopefully, did you just hear everything I said, Titus? All right, just check. But overall, what did you think about tonight? Pass or fail?
Joking. It was a non-memorable. It was a non-memorable pay-per-view following Raw. It was there was nothing brought to the show tonight.
I said it at the top. I said it at the top of the hour. I'm gonna say it again. I should have been watching. I really wish I would have been watching Gotham and Sleepy Hollow, man. Seriously. Why don't you pull up the comment and see what everybody's been saying?
Gotta go there. So give me a minute.
And while Titus is doing that, I want to put a programming note that we're not going to be doing a Tuesday night radio edition of the RCWR show. We've been pumping out a lot of shows for you guys consecutively all last week into tonight. So we're going to be on a little bit of a hiatus until Wednesday night. And we'll be joining you at 11 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. We'll be covering Fallout from CNA Impact Wrestling. You know the show. Showdown. Join us right here on YouTube at 11 p.m. Eastern, soon as Impact Wrestling goes off the air. And one other thing, because a couple of you all had kept asking me about it. Later today, we're going to reveal to you guys how you can try to win a copy of Chris Jericho's book, Best in the World, and what I have no idea. This book is not supposed to be coming out until, I believe, October 14th. But we managed to pull some strings together to get a hold of a couple of copies for you guys. We already had ways that you can go about entering and trying to win a copy, but we're gonna shorten it as sweet as possible and release it here on YouTube for you guys. So make sure you check out the channel. And I can't stress it enough. If you haven't showed love yet, we got a really cool conversation with Chuck Palumbo. Check it out, man. 40-minute conversation. See a lot of great feedback coming in for that. Titus, you checked that one out yet, buddy?
Which one was that, Lee? I was checking out YouTube comments.
Okay. Did you check out the Chuck Palumbo conversation?
That is on my list for tomorrow.
Let me know what you think about that, man. What we got for comment?
Well, we got a couple here. We got Ramon Sanchez says, I think a lot of the IWC grew up serious Attitude Era fans. They hate the fact that kids love stars like Cena and D-Bry. That's where a huge part of the WWE's money comes from, and that's why a lot of these childless fans can't seem to understand. Look how happy these fans get when D. Bryan joined the Wyatt family. Now with Roman Reigns, takes another side and said, well, now with Roman Reigns gone temporarily, who fills that spot? So who fills? What are you thinking there, Lee?
I see a lot of people. Here it go. I don't know what's going on. Maybe if I plug in some headphones. Hang on, guys. Keep talk about it, Titus.
Well, I think that you don't just be able to replace Roman Reigns. He's a big part of the storyline, the main event storyline. So it's a tough place to replace him because all your other big top guys are wrapped up. So it's hard to replace. I think that you just you cut him out and you move on the story without him because you can't replace him. Just like you can't replace Daniel Bryan or CM Punk. They're not replaceable. But you just find a guy to fill in the slot temporarily. Maybe you could. Just don't know who it would be to fill in that spot because he had a very prominent and particular role. But what you're saying about the fans, the thing about pro wrestling, other than those couple of years, you guys have to remember that the Attitude Era was really only about 4, maybe 5 years long. Okay, I mean that's really all it really was. There was the end of the Attitude Era that kind of blended over. That was the beginning of the Cena era. But wrestling has been, always will be, for kids. The kid in me, the kid in Lee, the kid in Ramon Sanchez, the kid in all of us. That's what wrestling is about. It's about kids. It's a family event. And the Attitude Era was not a family-friendly era. And in this day and age, this is going to come off really, really bad. And it's not meant to be, but there's a lot of fact I could pull into this. The demographic, and I was one of those during the Attitude Era, were not buying a lot of this. We would not be buying stuff today. At that time frame, they were throwing money over hand over fist, buying T-shirts and that kind of stuff. A lot of the guys who are the demographic from the Attitude Era are streaming the pay-per-views illegally on the website. They're not spending money in the product, so they don't get a voice. So I think that it is it's a family-friendly event. It's for the children and all of us, and those are the people that spend the money. You want your voice to be spent or be heard? Spend the money to have your voice heard. But you're right. It is about kids. No, it's about kids, and I'm one of those kids. So is that man right there, Lee Sanders. So totally is for the kids.
Hey, I don't hear any echo anymore. It pays to have Beats headphones, man. Look, you see the background behind me. I'm pushing 34. I'm always going to be a kid at heart. And if any of you out there that don't like that, that's too damn bad.
How do you really feel?
I still have echo. I can hear myself with that echoing, but I don't know what's going on. Anybody, if you're still hearing echoes at my end, post a comment. What other comments we got, Titus?
We got Reggie Damon Smith says, I marked out a little bit when Stephanie called Dean Ambrose loose cannon. It's like you were saying, Lee. Dean reminds me of Brian Pillman a lot with his promos. Plus, Layla is too fine now. Wow. I wish Dean Ambrose attacked Triple H when he ducked a briefcase shot attempt to face with Seth Rollins. Ambrose quickly turned around when he was near Triple H. Would have made sense for Ambrose to take down Triple H, the man behind him getting out of the action. You know, you don't touch the boss. And that's one of those rare things. You have to do to get to that point where you're touching the boss. You've got to work your way up to hit the boss. It doesn't make a lot of sense to go, I'm here, hit the boss. You got to work up to go back to the Attitude Era. You had to work your way through all the stooges to get to the McMahon. You had to go through Briscoe and Patterson and Sergeant Slaughter when he was commissioner and Shane, and you had to go through all those stooges to get to McMahon. So there should be a payoff there, Reggie, to see a guy like Dean Ambrose get that shot on Triple H, but not on a random Raw without a build-up. It does make sense. Totally agree. But you got to build up to that making sense. You're still struggling there, Lee, are you?
Yeah, I'm still having echo. We should go ahead. Go ahead. Close us out.
Okay. Lots of comments down below, so keep the conversation going. You know, Lee's much better at it than I am in answering things. I will do what I can. 38 seconds ago, Jason Bro said, yeah, he hears an echo. So I'm not hearing it, and that's kind of weird that I'm not hearing on this end. But leave the comments down below. Let us know what you think. Make sure you share the program with a friend. That's all we ask. Tell a friend. If we think we do a good job, whether you agree or not is fine. I mean, I don't want to agree with everybody. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show to do every week. So make sure that you tell a friend. And you have a dissenting opinion, tell us what you think. And I want to have this fantasy draft, so you guys throw down what you think would be some good rules and a way to get you guys involved. And I'd love to do something like that and do a few more things. But overall, Raw was not terrible, but it wasn't anything that was memorable either. I think, Lee, would you agree with that? Yeah, he's staying mute, ladies and gentlemen. So I think I'm just gonna close the whole thing out because we have a deaf mute over here on the other side of the TV screen. So, other than that, make sure you go to TitusMakaveli.com. You're gonna see a lot of stuff on that website starting to get hot again because there's a lot of stuff coming on in my wrestling career. I'm back on the scene, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that. We're gonna put up a whole new poll, and make sure you tweet me at the Evil Genius Titus. Hit up Mr. Sanders there at the RCRW show over on Twitter. But other than that, I don't have much else to say. Lee, what do you have anything you want to close out with, or you're playing? What are you going over there? You're done. You're done completely. Okay, so that's it. An anticlimactic ending for the tag team here. For Lee Sanders, I am the evil genius of professional wrestling, Titus Makaveli. Next week, same time, same place.